The Spanish verbs saber and conocer both mean to know, but they're used in different ways. We're going to take a look at each of these verbs, how it's conjugated, and when to use each one. We'll start with the verb saber. Saber is mostly regular, but notice that the jo form is irregular. Everything else is like we would expect it to be, but the jo form is pronounced se and is se with an accent mark on it. Conocer is also mostly regular, but again the jo form is irregular, conozco. Everything else is like we would expect it to be. Here they are together, and you can pause the video and get these copied down if you need to. Saber is used to talk about knowing information and also to talk about knowing how to do something. So let's take a look at a couple of examples. He knows the answer, that would be knowing information, and that is él sabe la respuesta. He knows how to dance is knowing how to do something. Él sabe bailar. Let's point out a couple of things. One, you'll notice that we have an infinitive here, which is to dance. And so every time that we're using saber to talk about knowing how to do something, we're going to use an infinitive. Also notice that we don't have a word here for how. We just say sabe, which means he knows, or if it were I know, say, or we know, sabemos, and so forth. We use our form of saber, and we use an infinitive right after it to say that someone knows how to do something. Conocer is used to talk about knowing a person, meeting a person for the first time, and being familiar with a place, specifically having been to a particular place. Let's look at some examples. I know Juan, that's knowing a person. Yo conozco a Juan. The one thing to keep in mind here is that if we're mentioning a person who is not the subject of the sentence, we have to use what's called the personal a. So the personal a will often follow our form of conocer. Yo conozco a Juan. To say they want to meet Marcela, we say ellos quieren conocer a Marcela. In this case, we're talking about meeting a person. And to say I have been to Peru, we would say yo conozco Peru. It might literally translate I know Peru, but we wouldn't really say it in English that way. The meaning that we're trying to get across here is I have been to Peru. Notice that this time we do not have the form of a, because like we said, that has to do with knowing a person. Peru, of course, is not a person, it's a place, so we don't have that personal a here. So in summary, we have saber, which is used to talk about knowing information or knowing how to do something, and conocer, which is used to talk about knowing a person, meeting a person for the first time, and being familiar with a place, or in other words, having been to a particular place.